Ever wonder what it really takes to build a business and a life that feels like yours? Welcome to That Big CEO Energy. I'm Callie, entrepreneur, operations whiz, and your go-to for the real, raw, and unfiltered side of business and life. Because let's be honest, entrepreneurship isn't just about strategy and success. It's about figuring out who you are in the messy middle, trying new things, well, just because you can, and creating a life that actually fits you. From solo deep dives to candid convos with powerhouse business owners, we're talking all about the highs and the lows and the why did no one warn me about this moments that come while chasing big dreams. So let's get uncomfortable, embrace the chaos, and make it happen. Let's talk about bottlenecks. This is the final part of our series where we've been talking about where we have been talking about getting all of our systems up and running and organized so that this Q4 we can grab our business by the cojones. So let's talk about bottlenecks specifically. When you are the bottleneck in your own business, raise your hand, because I know that at some point we were, or that we currently are. I have been there, and it's really humbling because nobody wants to admit that they're the reason their team, their clients, or their growth is stuck. Nobody does. But if you're listening, chances are you've felt this too, and it's okay. It's okay. But I have realized that there are just some things. When I was in a push to scale my business, I started to realize how important help was. And that really came at the expense of having a serious conversation with my husband where he was sort of like waving his hand going, "Hey, I'm over here." I was working early mornings into late nights. I was working weekends. I was working around the clock to save not only my own business, but to do client work. And so when I finally had, really, it was my ACL. When I tore my ACL and I had nothing but to sit on my behind, I really realized how important my time was. And the reality is that everything still was waiting on me because I didn't even have help during that time, right? And so it was really a realization of, it wasn't about trying harder. It was about that I didn't have a good system in place and I didn't have good delegation. And so every founder hits this point. Every business owner hits this point, and it doesn't mean that you're failing. It literally means that you've outgrown your old way of working and you have to get people and figure out a new way of working. And so this framework for delegation sort of is this 3-step process. And the first step is really to decide what only you're going to do inside of your business. And I talked a little bit about, and I'll link all the previous episodes are linked in the show notes, but in the time we talked about going through and putting on our Clockify, right? And really understanding what we are doing inside of our business so that we are able to then decide, what is it we're actually going to do? Where does my zone of genius lie? Can I spend a little bit of money and get a VA that is going to take a lot of this admin off of my plate? And I know what you're thinking. You're like, I don't have time to train someone. Great. You want to know why? Because you're not documenting what it is that you're currently doing. If you have Descript, if you have Zoom, if you have any of those video platform tools, that makes it so you can document, right? And same with Google. Like, you can record on there and you can show what it is that you're doing. And really, maybe it's just like sharing your screen and saying, like, this is what I do. And then you're dumping that information into ChatGPT and it's creating an SOP for you, right? Like, the ease of things, leaning into what it is, but you can only do that and decide what only you can do if you know where your time is being spent. Then it's moving into step 2 where we're documenting the repeatables and we're documenting what it is that we need to be giving away to a VA, to an operations manager, whoever it is. We need to be documenting that. Put it in a Google Drive. Save the raw video. Like it's super easy to do. And you're probably giggling at me saying that it's super easy to do, but it is, you guys. Like the more that we flex this muscle of documenting and passing it off to someone, oh my gosh, like the more empowered you feel. Like I can't even explain it to you. But we need to delegate also with clarity and have a clear framework of what it is that our business is doing. So if you're a service provider and you have some admin things that you know that like you don't need to be doing because you need to be focusing on bigger projects with your clients, get a VA and delegate those things, right? Like it needs to be this clarity of what it is that I'm doing inside of my business. Where are the strongholds that are preventing me from doing all of the things that I really are in my zone of genius? And then documenting those things so that you have clarity around what it is that somebody else can be helping you with. So the first thing that I delegated to free up super real, honest energy are all of the repeatable things that I do. Literally, my podcast scheduling, my emails, all of those little things. Yes, I am the one that creates them. But again, it's getting yourself a little bit of a system, right? Where you're spending CEO time putting those things together. You are making the white space on your calendar so that you can do these things, right? Like is it all making sense now? So when we do those things, we are able to figure out what we need to systematize first. And I have a few things that maybe can help us out. So low stakes tasks. What are those? Those are things like your calendar management, your invoicing, your email filters, your email templates, things of that sort. So when we talk about calendar management, can your VA, when you have incoming requests, can your VA filter those out and schedule on your calendar for you? If not, if you are using something like Calendly or Go High Level, whatever it is, block off the time that you need so that people just flat out, it's not available. There's a real good way to put white space on your calendar, right? Same with invoicing. If you have something like QuickBooks, if you're utilizing that and you have clients that you invoice the same amount routine, there is a recurring function. Again, let that do the work for you, right? If it's the same thing that you're doing, then you need to create a system for it. Email templates. If we utilize Gmail, but we're not quite there to have an automated system like Go High Level, things of that sort, we can use the template function. Go into your settings and toggle it on first because it's not automatically toggled on. I don't know why. Don't ask me. Pro tip. Right? So we can take those emails that we are repeatedly sending to people and we can kind of create a little bit of a template, knowing that when we go in, we are putting our personal touch, but it allows us to not have to go and search inside of our email, copy and paste the same thing that we know we're going to send, delete all of that out, right? Like it's already exhausting. I don't want to send the email. So I'm not going to because I know that I have something more important to do, right? So again, setting yourself up for success and having some sort of a system. Next things to systematize: revenue-related processes, onboarding, offboarding, any sort of sales funnel, right? Like those sort of processes that you are putting in place, especially onboarding, those can be systematized. Those can be automated and still have a personal touch on them. So do not be in your 2020 mode of thinking and think that we have to send robotic emails, because we don't have to, even in our automated onboarding process, right? But you need to have a system. What is our system when somebody is coming through our funnel? How are we onboarding them? What does it look like when we're offboarding them, right? And that is the actual system. It doesn't matter what tool you use to be able to automate it, but we need to have some sort of a system so that even if you are the one person that is onboarding your clients, you know exactly what the next step is, okay? Systematize before you scale. Otherwise, you only scale your stress. That's it. So here is the breakthrough for you. You are not your business. You are not your business. Say it with me. I am not my business. I lead my business. You tell your business what it is doing, not your business telling you what it's doing. And the moment you step out of being a bottleneck is your final step into the CEO role. When you really can get aligned with the fact that you are not your business and you lead your business, that is when you no longer become the bottleneck. And it starts with delegation. It starts with working on your money. It starts with working on your time, right? This is the exact kind of work that we do inside of the collective, because I want to make sure that you're not carrying the whole weight alone. There are other people in business that are still working through this, and they are in year 5, 6, 10, 15, and they have no support. They don't even know what it looks like. And we are a people that look at our calendar and we look at the things that we're doing, and we need some sort of a buddy to be like, yeah, I think that's aligned. Does it feel good? If it feels good, great, let's repeat it, right? So if you're craving more support and more structure inside the collective, that's where we go deeper. But for today, I want you to just ask yourself, where am I still the bottleneck? And what's one system that I can build this week to free myself up? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you are interested in the collective, please let me know, and we will get you the support that you need. We will get you the structure, and we will help you break down your calendar and break down these systems and build yourself up. Hey friend, thanks for hanging out with me today. If something in this episode clicked for you, I want you to shoot me a DM over on Instagram. The link is in the show notes. Let's chat about how you're making the messy middle work for you. If you loved what you heard, would you mind sharing this episode with a friend who needs to hear it too? And drop a quick review if you don't mind. It helps get the word out, and I appreciate it more than you know. Catch you in the next one.